What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic. In today, we're going to talk some football. We're going to talk some free agency. Since this is going to be our new general manager, Bryan Gaines' first free agency class, I'm going to give out some targets. Especially how we don't have a first or second round pick unless he's able to do some wheeling and dealing and jump into the first and second round. Hopefully so. But that would remain to be seen. So his main thing to fix his offensive line and secondary, which are two main concerns. One or two, whichever one you want to pick, is A or B. Which one is the more impressive need? Offensive line, probably because of the quarterback situation, with you want to protect Deshaun Watson at all times. So probably offensive line should be the number one, and secondary should be the number two. I'm gonna point out who we should go after, who we might go after, who we will go after, things of that type of nature. But the breakout was going on in the division since my last video. Mike Vrabel, our defensive coordinator, we lost him to the Titans to be their head coach. A lot of people have been talking mad trash about it. My quick opinion is actually I think Mike Vrabel eventually will be a good head coach. Don't know if he's going to be a good coach in Tennessee. Not because I just don't know if he's going to be a good coach in Tennessee. I think eventually when it's all said and done, he's going to be a good head coach. I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach in that situation because he's a defensive-minded guy. And my complaint to Titans fans about Malarkey is how the offense to me was stagnant, and they didn't seem like it didn't seem a threat to me. Like when the Titans were on offense, I wasn't afraid that they were going to score. And I tell Titan fans, how could y'all sit there and watch Deshaun Watson for 6 games and like our offense should be running some semblance of that? So I think the better hire for them would have been Josh McDaniels, but the Colts hired Josh McDaniels, and I think the Colts should have hired Mike Vrabel because they issue is defense. I think they were 31st or 32nd in defense. The defense is worse than the Texans. I think the Texans was 27th. So they should have hired defense-minded coach, and the Titans should hire offensive-minded coach. That's just my quick little thing about that situation. They might both be good head coaches for those teams. I just think they should be flip-flop. If I'm on the outside looking in. As a Texan fan, I hope it all blows up in everybody's face because I don't really care because I just want the Texans to win. But if I'm just being a football fan, I think they should flip-flop. Jacksonville Jaguars won the division and made it to the AFC Championship game, almost beat the Patriots. Like, they were right there. They played a way better game than we did. At least they had the lead going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, they could and should have won that game. And if they can do something with the quarterback situation, even though Blake Bortles played his ass off in that Pittsburgh game and that Patriot game, like I've been saying, they're not going to go anywhere with Blake Bortles. And if they do something like get a Kirk Cousins or something, that team should be favored to win the AFC. Easy. With that defense, if they get a top quarterback, yeah, they should. But I don't think I think Bortles is going to come back, at least from that standpoint. They might draft a quarterback. And to be honest, on the outside looking in, if I was them, I would want to get Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield to me fits Jacksonville. His demeanor, his swag, everything fits the way that Jacksonville Jaguar team is right now. I think it's a perfect fit. And I think that'd be some good games with Deshaun Watson versus Baker Mayfield. I think those could be exciting AFC South games. But those are my little quick thoughts on that. Back to this free agency. Now, in my last video, I think I said something about $60 million. That's a little over $60 million. That's not the cap space that we have. I think it's $57 million. And we still have to sign Clowney. Now, it's not a definite that we have to sign Clowney. Clowney's still under contract. We hit with this 50 option. But they 9 times out of 10, they want to go ahead and lock you up because they don't want you to get into the free agency next year where they have a choice. They have to franchise you or risk you going down the free agency. So more 9 times out of 10, they'll try to lock up Clowney or will lock up Clowney. So that's some money off the salary cap. Other free agents on the team that might leave, you might have to re-sign them back. And then also you got to save money for your draft picks. So it's going to be a little over $30 million. I'm somewhere around that because it all depends on the cap. It all depends. The main thing is what they're going to give Clowney. How big of a cap hit Clowney's going to be. How much is Clowney going to take and demand. So you probably have enough to get 2 big guys, and that's it. Or a lot of lesser known guys. And I've been saying this since A.J. Bouye left last year. And probably since the summer, rather, that I think that this offseason that the Texans were going to throw a lot of money at Malcolm Butler from the Patriots, who won 2 Super Bowls, possibly is on the way to win the 3rd. I've just been thinking like that. For some reason, that's just what I've always thought. And one of my homeboys texted me during the game against Jacksonville. Texted me because he's a Titans fan. Y'all can have Malcolm Butler because he's been getting 8 on all playoffs. And I told him, I said, that's good. I'm actually glad. I'm glad because that's going to drive his price down. Because I know for a fact that Malcolm Butler is better than any cornerback that's on the Texans right now. He's better than any of them. So he can look bad on tape all he wants to. And the only thing it's going to do is drive his price down and for us to get him at a cheaper price. Because I know for a fact he's an upgrade over any corner that we have. Now, my dream scenario is, like I say, to get Malcolm Butler and to get Tremaine Johnson from the Rams. He's going to be a free agent. They franchised him last year. They're not going to franchise him this year. He's going to hit the market. He's going to be looking for a payday. They're actually the same age, just that Tremaine Johnson came out in 2012, so he's played more football than Malcolm Butler. But Malcolm Butler has played more meaningful football. Like I said, 2 Super Bowl rings, possibly a 3rd, playing for the Patriots. Even though he wasn't the starter with the first one, but he's been the starter ever since. He was All-Pro last year. So he's more experienced on the field as far as the game situations, while Tremaine Johnson is more experienced as games played because he's played in more games throughout the season, but they're the same age. And they're both, 28? Well, Tremaine Johnson just turned 28 in January. Malcolm Butler turns 28 in March. So they'll both be 28 when the season starts. So you could probably get them for another 4 years and makes them 32. So yeah, that's pretty. You sign them to 2 4-year contracts, and that's pretty good. And that helps you for the future, going forward for the next 4 years. But if you do that, like I said, that's my dream scenario. But if you do that, that's going to eat up your salary cap. That's going to be it. That's not what you're going to be able to. That's what probably is not going to happen because I don't see them throwing that much money at the secondary. We still have to fix the offensive line. And I said earlier, that the offensive line is probably the most pressing need because of you have to protect your asset, your number 1 player, your best player on the team, Deshaun Watson, because we see Deshaun Watson goes down, your season goes down. But also, secondary really is the biggest issue because when you had Deshaun Watson on the field in 2 of the biggest games, your secondary let you down against the Patriots and against Seattle. Now, people want to blame Bill O'Brien, you want to. I get you for the Seattle game. The Patriot game, he was right because the defense made plays. Corey Moore drops a pick that would end the game. They got the strip sack fumble on Brady, but they weren't able to recover the fumble. Both times, both quarterbacks drove downfield to get a touchdown with no timeouts. So your secondary has to be better. So no matter if you had an all-pro offensive line, your secondary still would have cost you that game, both of those games. If you had a better secondary, you probably could have won at least one of them. At least one of them. So that's why I think building the secondary, to me, and through free agency is more important, and we can do the offensive line during the draft. That's just how I feel. I could be completely wrong, but that's just how I feel. But I don't think that's what they're going to do. Like I said, my dream scenario is to get Malcolm Butler and to get Tremaine Johnson. That way you take Kareem, you move Kareem to safety, and then Kevin Johnson, try him out at the slot. At the slot corner, the nickel corner. Maybe he can be better. Maybe with those two corners right there, and you have Merciless and Watt and Clowney and Covington and Cole and Bright and Bernard McKinney and Zach Cunningham putting the pressure up front. That hopefully that takes off pressure from Kevin Johnson. He's no longer have to cover the number 1 and number 2 receiver. His thing is the slot because last year, when we lost AJ to free agency, a lot of people was like, "Man, we got Kevin Johnson coming back. We got Kevin Johnson coming back. Man, he better than AJ." And I said it then. I never got that. I didn't think he was as bad as he played this year, but I never seen it in Kevin Johnson. I'm like, his rookie year, okay. And then after that, I mean, he was okay, but I never seen a number 1 corner. Like, I never seen an all-pro corner. I never seen a guy who I know he's going to lock down somebody or lock down that side of the field or something. I never seen that in that guy. And Pro Football Focus had him rated as the worst corner in the NFL. Out of, I think, 130 corners, he was 130th. or something like that, 120th or 130th. I know he was the worst rated corner in the whole NFL last year. I don't think he's that bad as he showed last year, but I don't think he's good enough to be a starter. I'm sorry. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good at all, to be honest with you. I think he's bad at football. And hopefully if you take the pressure off of him by getting him 2 studs at corner, maybe he'll play better than the nickel. You take Kareem, move Kareem to safety, and then Jonathan Joseph, you wave bye-bye. Thank you for your 6 years on the team. Or 7 years, how long? What, he's been here since 11. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 7 years. Well, your 7 years on the team, thank you. We wave at you, bye-bye. We came and got you on the bargain. You had back-to-back Pro Bowls. Your first 2 years, people talk trash about Jonathan Joseph. And Jonathan Joseph is not bad. He's just old. That's just really what it is. Because in 2015, he was second in the league in pass defense, pass deflections. So he's not bad. I'm saying as a Texan, his first 2 years, 11 and 12, he was a Pro Bowl and All-Pro. He's just old. So you wave by number 24. Kareem should never be a corner. Kareem should always been a safety. He's a corner in the safety's body. So take Kareem, move him to safety. That way you fix the safety problem, and you have 2 corners. Like I said, I think Kevin Johnson's bad at football, but he's a cheap player he's a cheap draft pick playing on a rookie salary. You can still utilize him and have him as your slot corner, and maybe you get something out of him when you put all these pieces around him. You cover up some of his mistakes, and you give him a more reduced role, a lesser role. Maybe he plays better. Maybe he looks better. Maybe he looks better as a corner if you give him that reduced role. Hopefully so. That's what I want to happen. But that's not what I think is going to happen. More than likely, I think if I give you my opinion, what I think is going to happen, I think they're going to take Malcolm, probably, like I said, sound Malcolm Butler, because I think that's their target for some reason. I just have that feeling that's their target. And try to get offensive lineman, try to get another corner like E.J. Gaines or Kyle Fuller or something like that, and have one of those corners battle Kevin Johnson for that second spot. Because when you pay Malcolm Butler, you're going to know Malcolm Butler is your number one. And then they're going to give one of those other guys, they're gonna be making some money, but it's not money that is guaranteed cemented, because you getting paid this money, you the starter. Like you gave 75 million, number 17. You know he's the starter. There's no quarterback competition when you paying him that much money. Now, if you bring in somebody on a lesser contract, okay, you could be subject to a competition. So, like I said, if you pay Tremaine Johnson and Malcolm Butler, then you know that's no competition. You know that's straight up, those two are your 1 and 2. But if you pay, like I said, E.J. Gaines or Kyle Fuller, because they're not going to be commanding high money like that, because they're not big names like that, they're not going to be commanding that type of money, Kevin Johnson is going to have a competition. And because I think they like Kevin Johnson, they spent the draft pick on him. So I think they're going to try to use him. So that's what I think is going to happen. I know I've seen talks about going after Jimmy Graham. Now, okay, I'm not saying that they're not going to go after Jimmy Graham. I highly doubt it. If they sign Jimmy Graham, will I be surprised? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I highly doubt it. And the reason why is because if they wanted Jimmy Graham, they could have got Jimmy Graham when they traded Dwayne Brown to Seattle. Now, before you say that's a different regime, that was Rick Smith and all this type of stuff. Okay, Rick Smith's wife, like I said, prayers to Tiffany Smith and the whole Rick Smith family. We've known that they've been dealing with cancer since October. Now, she might have found out earlier than that, and they just didn't tell the organization. But the organization has been known at least since October. Dwayne Brown was traded either the 30th or on Halloween. So it was the end of the last 2 days of October. So the team knew about Rick Smith's wife having cancer, and that's when Rick Smith started leaving certain situations. Now, he was there to facilitate the trade, but that trade wasn't a complete Rick Smith trade, like a full-fledged general manager trading a player for a draft pick, because he had other stuff going on. The organization knew that. Organization had other people doing other things to help make that workplace easier. So, yes, he still facilitated the trade, but he wasn't a complete hands-on. And then we already know that that trade was really done by the owner, Bob McNair, who was still here. So, if they really, really, really wanted Jimmy Graham, they would have got Jimmy Graham. Actually, I think they would definitely got Jimmy Graham then, because at that time, Jimmy Graham didn't have that spark of a season at that point. Because I think his best game, the first half of the season, is against us. I think he had 2 touchdowns against us. And after that, then he started playing like the Jimmy Graham, not the Jimmy Graham of New Orleans, but a similar version. Now, I've had Jimmy Graham on my fantasy team twice, and he's balled for me twice. And he's a good tight end when healthy in the right system. But I don't think he still has that in him. I think Jimmy Graham is 32 or 31, something like that. So he doesn't have that. So, and then I think Jimmy Graham, I don't think he'll command big money because he's past his prime age-wise. He's been in the league a while, and he hasn't had that many good seasons since he left New Orleans. So, so people think he's more of a Drew Brees and a New Orleans product than just him being good. And we do have the situation with Fedorowicz possibly retiring because of concussions. So, like I said, that's why I'm not going to completely rule it out. But, like, 75% chance that he's not going to be a Texan. I really don't see them going after him. If they did, I wouldn't be surprised. If they signed him, it wouldn't shock me completely. But I highly doubt it. But I seen, like, a mock free agency list that had us, and they also broke down some money, so you understand where we're going in the years. The cornerback from the Chicago Bears, Kyle Fuller, 3 years, $25 million. Jimmy Graham, 4 years, $45 million. Like, that's too long and too much money. Andrew Noel, the guard from the Panthers, 2 years, $20 million. That's $10 million a year. EJ Gaines, 2 years, $10 million. That's $5 million a year. So you're looking at 5, 10. That's 15. 10, 25. You see, you're looking at like 32 million right there. So that would be, like I said, around the salary cap space that you have with those 4 players. To do that, that could happen. Like that's actually a good, solid mock free agency because it's around the, like I said, it's around the money I said to be spent, and you get some you get some corners. Neither of those 2 corners are full-fledged. They're your number 1 corner. They'll be put into a situation where they'll be battling with Kareem, and even if they somehow bring back Jonathan Joseph and Kevin Johnson, but you cannot walk back with that secondary. There's no way that you can completely walk up here next year and play your secondary as Jonathan Joseph, Kareem Jackson, and Kevin Johnson as your corners. Because you're not going to win me football games. I don't care who throwing the ball. I don't give a damn. You're not going to win me in football games because you can't hold no leads with those 3 back there. I'm sorry. I like Jonathan Joseph, but like I said, he's old. Kareem, I don't think you as bad as everybody say you are because I think you need to be a safety. And then Kevin Johnson, you got a lot to prove to me, bro. You really do. You got a lot to prove to me, bro, because I don't see it in you. I really don't. So, I'm going to do a more in-depth video later. I'm also going to do, when the legal tampering period, I'm probably going to go live because I don't want to like say any late information. So probably when during the legal and tampering video, when it's more clear of who's being targeted by which team, I'm going to do a full, like, I guess, watch of who's being targeted, especially the big names, because who knows if Cousins being targeted to Jacksonville, or there's maybe a trade for Eli, something like so, and that's going to affect us because it's affecting our division and other things like that. I'm gonna wait to after free agency before I do a mock draft video. I want to see exactly what needs for what teams, because who might fix their needs during free agency. So, like, share, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, give me more videos. I holla.